And we're back to another episode of Let's Play Shining Force. I'm your host, the RPG Guy. And we are doing as stated. We are going to be probably taking this to endgame unless for some reason the Chaos battle takes way too long. Which it really shouldn't. And then the Dark Dragon fight's going to be I hate to say it, it's going to be a breeze. I could be misleadingly... I could be slightly misleading. We will see how well it does. Oh yeah, and so in this episode I wanted to talk about like what would make a great way to reboot this series. I would say you make a Shining Force 4 and you create a new villain, you know, maybe resurrecting bringing back some of like Dark Dragon and the others, but then, you know, them doing something to kind of reboot the story again. Like a soft reboot or a continuation. Because you have all the Shining lore, I would say, between Shining Forces 1 through 3, including Shining the Holy Ark, Shining Wisdom, Shining... as much as I hate Shining Wisdom, Shining in the Holy Ark. So there's probably a lot of cool ways you could expand the Shining world and kind of correct the course, because the Shining games, as of late, like Shining Resonance Refrain, is fucking garbage. And so the fans, and I think that there's a lot of money still to be made in tactical RPG games. What I would say to do is, if you're going to make Shining Force 4, you got to remake Shining Force 1. I would remake the whole series in a AAA format if I could. Maybe not change the mechanics too much, just the visuals, and make them really nice. Make them as nice as probably Shining Force 4 would look. In a sense, try to just reinvigorate the fan base, because there's a huge fan base for these early Shining games, and not much of a fan base for the later ones. And so, you know, it would seem to me if Sega knew what they were doing, they would try to really bring all that back. The only tactical RPG game series that's really worth a damn that has new games coming out anymore is really Fire Emblem. And I think that was one of the things they were worried about, was the market of Shining games starting to dry up, maybe, is why they didn't keep pursuing making more Shining games. I have to try, like, in the style of the tactical RPG. Because even today, this still, even though it's pixelated, it still looks good. It's still a good visualization of a tactical style RPG game. You don't see this kind of quality put into this type of game anymore. Like, you have to think back when this was made. This is gorgeous visually, and you would not see that today. You just wouldn't. So it would be something that would be interesting for them to kind of maybe do, is really see if they can find a way to revive the franchise by literally doing, as I had stated, and just remaking all of the old games into a AAA title while introducing new ones to the mix. Okay, that's the big catch-22 of that, introducing new ones to the mix. And they are still the tactical style, because I think it's like they want everything to be giant numbers. They want to have hyper, over-the-top, crazy anime. Now, here's something that's interesting. Now, this video is being made in early December. They're actually making a mobile version of Shining Force that has Shining Force 1 and 2 characters in it. I don't know anything about it beyond that, so I can't sit here and say if it looks good or anything like that. I'm not going to admit to anything quality-wise, because there's not enough information, and I'm not able to read kanji. Other than that, it looks like it's supposed to merge Shining Force 1 and 2 into one game. I don't know how I feel about that, but allegedly it's supposed to kind of, maybe, if it sells really well, it'll reinvigorate the franchise. It's hard to revive the franchise. I don't know. And there's not, again, it may not even get a Western release, which would be really, 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 really upsetting. Because we've been thirsty. The European and American communities have been thirsty, and the Oceanic communities have been thirsty for a new Shining game that plays like the original Shining Force games. So maybe this is them testing the waters of that in a mobile environment? You know, I don't know. I always get the feeling that the Shining series, after Shining Force 3, after Camelot left, they didn't know what to do with it, and so they just would plaster the name on a game that, you know, felt that had a fantasy theme and said, oh, we'll put brand recognition, right? That's the big thing now in modern day society, brand recognition. And so they use the Shining Force brand to promote a game, but the problem is it doesn't play like any Shining games that we've ever had. So in fact, it's not really a Shining. It's like making a platform game without Mario in it and calling it Super Mario Brothers, I guess. It's like Super Mario Brothers 5, or Super Wario Brothers Refrain. I don't know, something goofy like that. And it's not established. It hasn't been earned, and it's just really pulling, on the heartstrings of the people who love the series, only to be disappointed when the game actually comes out. And that's one of the things that really bugs me about. It's the same thing Hollywood's been screwing up, is remakes and trying to remake intellectual property, trying to find a way to remarket it somehow. It's like, please stop. Stop trying to remarket things to us that we already have enjoyed for decades without you guys screwing it up. Because that's really, end game, that's what ends up happening. They just screw it up. And my whole thing about anything regarding a remake of anything is you have to recreate the original sense of the game. You have to create the spiritual successor. And if you're not willing to do that, and you're just going to redo it in an entire way that is not faithful to the original, then I think ultimately you fail. And you shouldn't really make the product, because clearly you don't. That's not what any fan base of it would want. Oh, but you want to bring in new players. You bring in new players, and this is my beef with the new. We want to bring in new players and clientele. Blah blah blah. Okay. You do that by making a solid game in the first place. And a lot of it is like something like, if they remade Shining Force 1 and it's a AAA freaking title, fixed some of the bugs in it, added some new characters, added some more story, make it maybe 12 chapters long or 13 chapters long instead of 10, add some length, add some extra length to the game. Whether it's necessary or not, you're just giving it more meat, right? You'd have to rework the leveling system and the promotional system and stuff like that, but find a way to work around those confinements. I would play it, and I would show it off to my kid. If you can make the battles look very cinematic during like these little cutscenes, which is really, this is what Shining Force 1 is. It's showing you a little cinema of the battle, underway. And since it's showing us this visually, we now have a visual presentation of it, is what really latches, I think really connects us to it more so than anything else, is that we have this complete visualization that looks good, feels good, plays good, and there's no reason not to keep wanting to play it. We keep coming back to it. I think it's because, not just because the game is pretty balanced. It is, all the Shining Force games that are tactical, because there's Shining Force Neo, so I actually have to quantify that now. They're mostly well balanced. A lot of times in the early Fire Emblem games, even the later Fire Emblem games, there's not many different ways you can beat the game. There's, not different party, there are party loadouts, but the characters are so interchangeable that you don't really feel that big of a difference. And that's what I've noticed from Fire Emblem. I could swap in this knight for a different knight. I could swap in this general for another general, and I don't feel that much variation between them. In Shining Force as a series, I've always felt a strong difference between Chris, the two healers, Gong being an exclusive class in and of itself, even Torisu strongly feeling very different than Chris, even though Chris is the healer closely referenced to that character. Same with the casters. They all are unique. They all master one spell type by itself. They don't master or have the ability to master every spell type, thus giving you a more fixed kind of outcome when it comes to what casters you really get access to, which ones are you really going to focus on and use. Because you're not going to have access to all of them. Or well, you could, but you may not want to use all the casters because of the various issues that would, derive from that. Again, it's just, to me, there's a layer of complexity because the characters, though same class, statistically grow very differently. And it's enough that it's noticeable. You know, especially even in Shining Force 1 that has 7 freaking knights in it. The most knights of any Shining game that I can think of. You still feel a difference between every knight. A lot of people say Ernest hits harder than Vanker. Vanker hits less harder than Ernest and takes more damage than Ernest. He's the worst, okay? Sorry, there's no way around that, Ernest. You're just, or no way around it, Vanker. You're just the worst knight, in my opinion. And then Pele, who's really strong in the beginning, when you first grab him, he's a pretty damn good knight, and then he tapers off. You know, that's a neat mechanic that, you know, keeps you wondering, okay, I got this guy who just hits like a truck. I'm going to use him for the rest of the game. And then you see him starting to hit on average of everyone else when you thought he would have kept pulling forward. Then he stops pulling forward, right? So to me, that's like a neat premise or a neat concept. Because now you have this character who was once really awesome, now averaging out. Well, what does that say about the other knights? Oh, are the other knights going to average out too? Or are they going to grow in different ways? And then you start seeing those characteristics come forward, and then it makes the game far more interesting. Because even look at this, 72 and 64, though Arthur has the weakest of the 2 weapons. So, I mean, yeah, it looks like Ken's got the better damage, but if we swapped weapons, Ken would probably be around the same damage as Arthur, maybe a little less. I forget what the numbers are for the actual weapons off the top of my head, though. I do forget. But yeah, it's interesting stuff. May as well just melee him, because if he hits him, he'll kill it. If he AoEs it, he won't kill it. And conserve some of our caster's MP as well. That way we'd save it for the Colossi we gotta fight. All you had to do was hit it, Gong. All you had to do was hit it. You're killing me. You're killing me, Gong. You're killing me softly with your gong. Killing me softly with your gong. Whiffing your whole life with your fist. Killing me softly using gong. Healing my pain with his fingers. Punching foes in the face. Alright, that's enough. No, I don't want to waste it. Just do that. That gives us a 1 level 4 cast of Bolt, which we could do on one of the lesser Colossi. And no, I'm not addressing the drama between Henri and Tao. At the end of the day, on a casual playthrough, it's more spell loadout is king. Because, yeah, the big argument is who's the best mage between Henri and Tao and Aleph. And it's solely going to be based on spell loadout. And it really comes down to Henri gets Bolt level 2. I believe she might even get level 3. Notice I'm hesitating to actually answer that because I don't remember if that's true or not. But regardless of any of that, she gets Freeze level 4, which is true, but she also gets access to at least Bolt level 2. And she gets Blaze as well if you need that. So she just gets such a versatile loadout of weapons or spells available to her for any situation. She gets, I think she has one of the best MP growths in the game, or second best. Henri gets the worst, and then her problem is her spells cost the most. So there's that element. Although her spells do the most damage, no matter how you break it down. That's literally the truth. No matter how you break it down, Henri's Aleph does the most damage of any mage. So, but she can only use her most powerful attacks a few times, and so you almost use her like a tiny little glass cannon-like character. There's not much you can really do, in a sense, to make her that feasible. She's really good, and her magic is useful against most bosses. So I'm reluctant to say her boss fighting potential is garbage. The problem, again, it still stems from the original, issue that you have to deal with the minimalistic casting options that you have with her. But again, the benefit is she has that huge range. If she's hitting 4 to 5 enemies with one spell, then you're using her correctly. There's no question you are using Aleph correctly. If you're only hitting 1 or 2 enemies and you're using a level 3 or 4 bolt spell, you're wasting valuable MP that could be better used elsewhere. And that's something that you'd have to deal with, right? So if you look at it in that context, you're not gonna have a bad time. You're gonna have a good time using Aleph. The other thing, though, is that Aleph cannot be your only caster, so you almost need a second caster to offset her. She's your uber caster, and then usually Henri, who is, in my opinion, the second best is the primary best option. Henri's versatility allows her to do whatever she needs to do, and then you have that freeze and you have that range. The thing with Tao is that she gets the most casts of her level 4 blaze spell and level 3 blaze spell than of any character in the game. And that rationale being that her spells only cost 8 MP, and she gets I think, the second highest possible MP growth, give or take. Or it might even be the highest. So she gets the most casts. However, she has to get close to the enemies, which you usually don't want her to be you don't usually want her to get so close to the enemies that they can reach her. And with a lot of them at endgame, as you can see, being able to fly, having the long distance range attacks and whatnot, that makes her so vulnerable and so easy to get picked off that it does warrant, it does warrant you wondering, should you do it? So just something to keep in mind. So that's why I usually think of the 3 wizards, Tao is probably the worst. That spell loadout is pretty crap. I mean, attack's really good, but it costs 15 freaking MP. It's so fucking expensive for such a simple kind of, it's a decent spell, but, it's just so expensive. And it's almost not worth it because of how expensive it is. So I tend to shy away from Tao, just because at the end of the day, I think one of the most important things to be able to do to a boss or any enemy is to outright damage it on your turn. To buff a character to possibly double the damage, seems relatively pointless. We lucked out on that, by the way. That's awesome. As I'm sitting here bashing Tao, but to be fair, she's so fucking high level, it doesn't matter. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. I don't know if these colossi get resistance based on what colossi they're fighting, but interesting to see. Let's see if we can get this colossus to come down. I think he's the fire one, so he's the weakest of the 3. Hence why I sent less people after that one. Yeah. And Guns should be able to kill it on his turn. You would think, anyway. We'll get Ken to lure out the next Colossus. And that way we can send our casters in to bum rush it. And there he comes. He hits with Bolt 3. Can't believe we didn't get the kill. Darn. Get some. Probably should have used his spell instead, but whatever. Because there's always a chance he could miss. Get some. Alright, here we go, guys. Getting towards the end. Second to last battle. Something like that. Can be my bait. Here he comes. We'll deal with them as we need to. Or as we can. Get him. This is the thing you don't understand, Darksol. There's no saving from my wrath. My wrath is a given. My wrath is unavoidable. There is no hiding from my pure and anger, My pure and vengeful wrath. I don't know. Whatever. Fuck it. It's killing time is what it is. She'll one-shot this. And now there's nothing to stop me from going after Darksol at this point. That would be the shortest Darksol fight ever. I'm just kidding. I'm sure speedrunners know ways to do it faster than what I just did, and they wouldn't be this strong anyway. If they were this strong at speedrunning, that'd be a whole other story. I'd be like, how did they get that strong faster than that quickly? Really? We could really just ignore him. He's little Steel Claw, but he's not gonna be a threat. We're gonna name him Bob. Tickle me, Bob. Or rather, he's the one getting the tickles. I changed my mind. I don't want Jogger to die, so that means we gotta take him out. Gotta protect the Jogger. What's the point of not having him in the? What's the point going to the last battle if Jogger can't be in it? Even if he's wiped out in it, but he has to make it. Killing our way through the line here. The dragon's a bigger threat right now. Dragons are technically the biggest threat to the party. The laser eyes aren't far off from that either, but something to take notice of. And there's your laser shot for 68. It does pretty darn good damage, not gonna lie. Damn fine. You know what? Sister needs to be healing over here anyway. Oh man, Amon's getting surrounded. Not that he can't handle it. Not that he can't handle it. No reason to pull him out yet. Kill it like the rest. I mean, the biggest threats are really off the battlefield at this point. Not other than Darksol himself. He's a nasty customer too. But it doesn't mean anything if we can't get up there and deal with him. Can't reach Amon from here. Oh no, look out, Tau! You're gonna get some stinky breath. Or rather, you know, I don't even want to think about what just came out of him just now. Demon splooge. Isn't that really just what ectoplasm is? Demon splooge? I guess. Never thought of it that way. But they can get involved here. Lo can handle the rest. Mainly making sure Amon and Tau don't die. Again, this enemy we don't care about. Nuke Darksol here. You have to remember he's going to be somewhat magic resistant, so... This is a bad idea. Because if Darksol gets a turn, he'll kill Amon. Ah, Amon fucked up. This might draw some focus off of Amon. I mean, really, anybody, any character except Jogger could take him out if they can reach. Come on, Arthur. Yeah! Arthur. Oh, Arthur! You cheeky fucker. Cheeky's not the right word. You motherfucker. You could have killed him. It's like he goes up to hit him with the halberd and he just kind of slips on a banana peel. Darksol doesn't want to die. Adam gets the kill. That would be hilarious. And he did. You go, Adam. There's a kill you don't see very often, an Adam Darksol kill. Let's see what we can do here with regards to taking this guy out quick, fast, and in a hurry. Just because it'll reach. Suck on this, Mr. Skellington. Most of the heavy hitters are on the left side, so we're going to have to bring some people up over here. Yeah, because of that. Hit it again. Oops, sorry. God, I keep leaning. I have the controller down by my knee, kind of just slightly above my knee, and I'm leaning forward on the desk, and then it hits the little trigger button. Let me hit from really. Not bad. Nice. That way there's a nice little grouping here to people to help kill it. Get some. Okay. See, that's what I was worried about. Is just there's no way around this double teaming of the Dragon's Breath here, and it's so much damage. And we're hoping every once in a while it decides to do a melee attack, but or this, because it's just less damage. I have Showers of Cure though, so if I really need to do something, I could burn a Shower of Cure. Because why not, right? Bolt level 4. Holy crap. You know, we're gonna have to use one of these. We have 3 of them, so two or three. So we'll use this right now. It's very premature, but we'll save the second one. Once we kill one of the heads, we'll probably not need to use it again. I just really don't want my characters to die. I mean, they probably will anyway, but every little bit we can hold off on them dying from, the better. Let's send Jogurt this way, because he, you know, it sounds stupid, but he can actually use a healing item if he needs to. If it really comes down to the nitty-gritty, we have a backup. Probably should move Ken to the other side, but oh well. Okay, we're getting there. Nice, nice, nice. Can't complain about that. That's one head down. There we go. Do it, Joggert. Do your thing. Who would have thought you'd see Joggert doing something in this fight? Who would have thunk it? Amon's probably the weakest attacker that's not Joggert. Maybe he should really stay. Then again, Amon can fly into the backside of the boss, so I don't know. Maybe that was a mistake. We'll figure it out in a little bit. We gotta heal these characters anyway, so... Not something I'm ultimately worried about. Actually, Aleph could stay. Oh, I moved her too close, didn't I? Yeah, she's too close. I was gonna say, we could have her attack, and then go and swap places with Amon. But it's not gonna be very easy if characters are getting unnecessarily damaged, because I'm not thinking right here. Every character can technically reach Dark Dragon, so let's do it, pretty much. The ones I'm planning on using. Oh, Jogger. Probably should have boosted Jack Tart or something, but I didn't. Nice! Yeah, he needs to be healed. You know what? Fuck it. Don't care. Because we're probably not going to need it much longer. Interesting how it's not a full heal, though. 38, it looks like, is the maximum it heals for. Now, I think... Does Lo have the other one? Yes, he does. So we still have one more. Nice crit. Alright, that way you guys get the animated finish. Unless he misses. And there we go. Time. Jokes aside, we did it. With the worst party that you, the viewers, voted on. I don't think this is the worst party. Gunce is actually pretty good. Adam is probably the worst specialty character, mainly because of when you get him in the game, but statistically he's not that bad. Hanzo is probably the worst overall. When it comes to specialty characters, Xylo's really good. Blue is really good when you do all of that. So, who really becomes the worst after that is very subjective. And to be fair, every specialty character, with, in my opinion, the exception of Hanzo, is actually pretty good. So making a worse party regardless, we'll probably have none of them in it. But we did it. We used Jogger. We used some of the worst characters. Hans carried his own weight. He actually hit level 20 before anyone else did. Again, because statistically, Hans is actually a really good character. If you go to max level like I did. Now, I know in the comments they're going to be like, well, that's because you max leveled. And to be fair, in response to that, I said I might do that. So, the whole point is that every Shining Force game I can think of can be beaten just by max leveling your characters. In Shining Force 1, 20 and 20, and Shining Force 2, 40, 40. And all the Shining Forces in between 1 and 2, again, 20, 20. And then Shining Force 3, same deal, 20, 20. I believe you promoted level 20, yeah, or you can promote at level 10. So, if you make that effort, it doesn't matter what amalgamation of characters you have, you can win this game. You can win any of the games with the worst characters. So that should hopefully detour people from wanting to brag about doing runs with worse characters, because it's feasible. Now, if you say 10 levels promoted and then that's it, you could make an argument, but you'd have to cap it at 10 after that. Or 15 after that. Or 20 after that. Because going beyond that is... You'll find a way to... There's so many ways to do it. Whether you sit and grind crappy chunk levels, it really doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things. But I do love this game, and here again, I will say, if you casually play this game promoting characters at level 12, somewhere between 12 and 15, you're going to get that challenge. If you sit and grind the way I do, and that's because I do these I've done so many analysis, I've done so much analysis on level gains, about max level characters and stuff, that I've done everything there is to do in this game. So at the end of the day, it becomes a question of, well, is it worth, is this game worth it? Yeah, it's worth playing for the charm and for the story and for the visuals and for how much I don't get nostalgia off of this game as much as I get like a full all-around satisfaction because of the visuals of the characters, the visuals of the monsters. As a whole, this almost looks like something that would be made for a mobile phone today, almost. Other than that, the resolution's really low. I mean, really think about that. It's just so well made. It's such a well-made game that its pixel art is on par, if not better, than modern pixel art today. So, just for that, I love this game. As far as the worst party goes, like I said, I don't like the idea of worst party runs just because you just keep leveling. You'll eventually be fine. And that's true. Now, and I think that takes away from any kind of study or challenge, because, like I said, there isn't a challenge in many tactical games, especially any tactical game where you can repeat battles or go and do grinding sessions. Any tactical game where you can do that, you can easily trump over most victories with any party, unless you have a bunch of jogger type characters in your party. But beyond that, I mean, but then again, that's what you're doing, is you're breaking the game in a sense. You're playing the game in a way it wasn't meant to be played, which is constantly grinding your way through. But the fun part I will say about the grinding sessions that I've done, is you get to see all the characters and all their cool stuff and their animations. Doing a max level run for every character really gets to give you an idea of who are the best characters statistically. And I think my Shining Force 1 statistics episode the best characters level 20 before promotion, best characters after level 20 promoted, really tells a lot. Again, Lyle statistically was one of the worst. He wasn't the worst. Diane was the worst. But Lyle statistically did not hold a candle to Hans, except in attack. But what Lyle did have, and even in HP, he had really bad HP, which made him very squishy. So, I mean, take it with what you will, and then Hans can maneuver really nicely in the exterior terrain as well. So, there's a lot of, again, here's the thing that you need to take at the end of the day. There is no wrong party build. There really isn't. And you should play with the characters that you like. Whether it's for a visual reason, whether you, in your mind, think it's a statistical reason, or an odds of leveling reason. Somebody tried to argue that the levels are random. If they're random, it's very poorly randomized. What I mean is, like, level 20 levels promoted, level 20's post-promotion. I've seen the same stat gains on these characters. They just come up at different times as they level. So, yeah, you get those stats randomly doled out, but it seems like there's a finite amount of stats they're willing to dole out until you hit the max cap, and then they just give you a little stat here and a little stat there. Ultimately, again, and I'm not saying this to talk down to anybody or to say that somebody's wrong. I've just never noticed a huge difference between my runs, my playthroughs, maxing out their levels and seeing their stat growths. Are some characters better at lower levels than others? This is very true. And that's a study that might take more interest, is how often do characters outperform each other with a lot less of a stat growth? That, to me, might be more interesting. But, again, to each his own. And like I said, the Shining games, probably the most wonderfully introductory version of tactical RPG games that exist. If you have someone or your children want to get into the tactical RPG games, definitely let them play Shining Force. It is one of the easiest ones to get into. It's got a wonderful story. It's got wonderful characters. The design of it's captivating and holds your interest. And dare I say, for the time this was made in '93, the pixel graphics still kind of hold up today. Fight me on that. They really do. I've seen a lot of different pixel games. They have never looked as good as they do, as like they do in the Shining games. Even the first Shining Force game. So, anyway, thank you guys for stopping by on this magical adventure of weirdness and bizarreness and overgrindiness. I am your host, the RPG Guy. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/JackTarStudios, for more live gaming action. You can support the channel by being a sub over on Twitch. If you want to know about donating to the channel to help build this channel up, because it's almost getting to a stalemate in a way. We're stagnating as far as our growth is concerned. But there's, the biggest investments, more cameras, maybe some audio mixing equipment, so hardware-wise or software-wise. There's a lot of things we've been talking about, and more so. But I don't want to go on that too long. If you'd like to see me do another low-character run of this game or of maybe one of the other Shining games, let me know in the comments below. And maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do some more analytics for you for Shining Force CD. I could do some analytics for other Shining games. I think moving on after this, I might pull out Wild Arms 4 or Shining Force 3. I haven't unilaterally decided what exactly I want to do. Just because there's so many options out there, and I know you guys, I love my community of viewers. I love my subscribers. You guys are a great community. I'd rather have few of you than like millions of viewers that are just fucking big assholes. I like this community that we've built here. So enough of me gushing about the community, and more importantly, let me let you guys go. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you guys next time.